Hey, it's Joddie Taylor of SnackySays. Welcome back to my podcast, the SnackySays podcast. Today I'm chatting about, how can I put this? Today I am chatting about, I want to share 5 things that I've learned, 5 steps that I think you can use if you are just starting a new endeavor. My reference point is going to be content creation. So I just realized, I think it was yesterday, that this August 2024 makes 6 years since I published my first post on SnackySays.com, which was my first website. Now I'm on joddie.substack.com, joddie.substack.com. And I'm like, wow, almost 6 years. What have I learned? So adjacent to this or related to this, the reason why I looked it up is because I'm working on another podcast episode. I have 4 pages of notes so far. Another podcast episode on my content creation journey and what I've learned the last, as it turns out, 6 years. And what I'm going to share, these 5 tips, I literally copied and pasted from my notes because I think these 5 tips, these 5 steps, answer the question, well, what's it have to do with me? Because the rest of the 4 pages is talking about my journey and my story. And so I thought I would start at the end and just put that in this standalone podcast episode because I think there are things that could help you in that. I've come to this conclusion after several years. So if you are just starting out in content creation, that's maybe social media, YouTube, you're blogging, you're vlogging, or maybe you've already started. SnackySays.com was my 3rd attempt. All 3 were anonymous. I had a blog spot, I think that's what it was called. I had a Tumblr, and SnackySays.com used to be anonymous. So I know what it's like to start over. So number 1, let's just hop on into it. Number 1, commit to being consistent, whatever that means to you. So maybe it's daily post or weekly post, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever it is. That way your audience knows what to expect, your readers, your followers, your subscribers, and you know what to expect. And you'll get into the habit of putting out videos, content, podcast episodes, newsletters, whatever it is, that's your thing. Once I committed to doing the newsletter monthly, that set the pace for me. I was a little bit, quick story time because this is about you. I was a little bit down on myself about picking monthly, but I knew that I could stick with it. And it fit what my energy bandwidth was like at the time. I knew I could stick to monthly. And I was just like, 2 months in, I'm like, great. Now I have, 2 newsletters. But you know what? It's been, I think I'm in my 3rd year of doing monthly newsletters. Is that right? That feels right, right? Yeah, maybe 3rd. And now I look back and that's what, 12, 24, 36 newsletters. That's nothing to sneeze at. So number 2, you've committed. That was number 1. Number 2, start and keep going. You have that commitment. Maybe it's daily, it's weekly, it's monthly, whatever it is. Start and just keep going. I know what it's like to do the reset. And instead of starting over, just start and keep going. I know it's simple, and I also know simple ain't easy. But that's step 2 or tip number 2. Number 3, set yourself up for success. I attended a digital summit, Make Hay Sang's digital summit a few months ago. And one of the thoughts that came up during the summit, one of the workshops in particular was like, what if you went viral? Actually, I want to get the person's name. Hold on. Okay, here it is, Bertie, which I knew, Bertie, if you ever listen to this, of course I know who you are, but I wanted to get her website, and that's Birdie and Co. BIRDYAND.co. So during Birdie's presentation, her workshop, I don't know if she exactly said it like this, but how I heard it and what I got from it was, what if you go viral? So set yourself up for success, so that if you go viral, or hey, people are just looking for you, it is easy for them to do so. So make it easy for folks to contact you in your link in bio or your about me or about us, however you phrase it. Have a business email address. In my humble opinion, Gmail is fine. I got SnackySays.com a year or two ago. I don't think it's even been 2 years, probably over a year ago, and I paid for that. But before that, I was using blah, blah, blah at Gmail as my business address, and it was fine. And I've noticed that when I go to other content creators, I don't want to say more often than not, but often enough, they have a Gmail and they have thousands and thousands of followers. Keep it free. This is a bonus tip. Keep it free as much as possible. You don't have to take on the extra cost if you don't want to. Okay, so set yourself up for success. Make it easy for folks to contact you. Have something for sale. That's my 2 cents. Haha, see what I did there? And make it easie to find your offers. This was some feedback that I got a few months ago, so I'm trying to make it easier on my own website or at joddie.substack.com, joddie.substack.com. I always have to spell my name out since it has 2 Ds. So I've moved things around so it's just easier and simpler. So if I'll use myself as an example. This is true. I have wandered onto someone's website and purchased an ebook and never gone to their website again. I was looking for something, they had it, and I bought it. I wasn't familiar with them, so of course I wasn't going to go rooting around their website, but it was right there, ebook, boom, I bought it. Next up, make it easy for folks to pay you. If you don't have a website, you don't have a sales page or a landing page, you can use something like PayPal, Venmo, and Payhip and Gumroad, for example, will help you create a landing page or a sales page and to check out everything through their website. They're both free. They do take a cut when you make a sale. And if you're wondering, what do I sell? You probably have a Google Doc with something you can sell, or emails that you've written, or hey, even a checklist. If you keep a diary, if you have a system that you use, whatever it is that you usually talk about or you're interested in, you probably have something. The first time I heard somebody say this, I was like, no, I don't. But as it turns out, I did. And if I didn't then, just by virtue of starting SnackySays.com, I started and I kept going. I have plenty of things. I just finished an ebook, and I was surprised how many resources I had that I could put in from me that I have recorded or written over the years. And like I said, when I started, I did 1 newsletter and then 2, and I was like, what is this? But now I can refer back to them and I can actually repurpose content. So start and keep going. And then last, for step number 3, every mickle make a muckle. So if you're not making a lot of money at first, I'm in the middle. So I started 6 years ago. I'm not making big bucks. I'm not a household name. I am very much in the middle, 6 years in. And still, I've made something. Every mickle make a muckle. It's going to add up eventually. That's what I keep telling myself. It's lest I say, I can't say like, oh, I didn't make any money. I can't say that. I have made a little bit of money. So every mickle make a muckle. Just remember that and keep that in mind and try to have a sense of humor about it. I don't always have a sense of humor about it. I sometimes am nauseatingly terrified as she laughs, because it's very scary to put yourself out there. It's very scary to create something and tell the world about it, and it's like crickets and no sales, or lest I say I didn't make any money, 1 or 2 sales. It's difficult, but you know what? It's better than thinking about something and not acting on it. It's better than having an idea and it's just stuck in your head. I can't control whether or not somebody buys something, and maybe you can't either. If you know how, let a sister know. But hey, I can put it out there. So it'll be available if and when it attracts the right folks, or I go out and find those folks, which is another story in my 4-page document for another podcast episode. Okay, so 2 more things. Number 4, educate yourself, upskill, gain new skills, and you're going to do that by whatever it is that you do. You're writing, you're podcasting, you're making videos. Along the way, you might want to take online courses, use free resources in your community, what is up with me? Free resources you can find online. YouTube University is one of my favorites. Hey, maybe you want to pay for certifications or go back to school and get a degree. That's a pretty big decision in my opinion, but do it what works for you. And then the last one, number 5, which maybe should have been number 1, expect failure. Get your lipstick on, get your lipstick ready, and start kissing them frogs. The time is going to pass anyway. So keep going. One of the reasons why I didn't start earlier than I did was because I would go on YouTube, I would go on a blog, and I would see folks who in my mind were killing it. And almost no one was reading what they were writing. They had, 50 subscribers. And I was like, I do not want to be this person. This must suck. 6 years later, I am that person. And it does suck, but I'm so glad that I started and I kept going. Glad enough that I want to share these tips with you if you are just starting out or if you're in the middle. So quick recap. Number 1, commit to being consistent, whatever that means to you. Number 2, start and keep going. Number 3, set yourself up for success. Make it easy for folks to find you, to email you, to contact you. It doesn't have to be email, whatever works for you. Maybe you want to do DMs on your social media. Have something for sale. I've spoken about this before, but when folks go viral, it's usually unexpected. And then they don't have anything for sale. They don't have a way for folks to be a fan and to compensate them in some way for their wonderful content. And then they're kind of scrambling. So just have something. Have you ever come across someone and been like, man, this is an embarrassment of riches. This really helped me out. I want to support this person, even if it's just buying something teeny tiny or something big. Maybe they sell something huge that you would like. And then next, educate yourself, upskill, gain new skills, have fun with it. We don't want no hostages. And then last, expect failure. Expect it. I'm not saying I'm great with failure. I'm working on it. But I know had I anticipated it and had more experience with it, I would have had a better time. I'm still wrapping my head around it. But now I know I'm not looking forward to failing, but it doesn't stop me from trying something else, from trying something new, from trying the same thing again, but maybe in a different way, or to just keep going. No matter how I think about it and looking back on the last almost 6 years, I'm still glad that I tried. I continue to try despite the failure. And if you don't get anything else out of this, if you're starting something new or you're starting again, if you go into it thinking sheesh, I might fail, I think you'll have a much smoother time because you won't be so shocked and jarred by the failure that you just completely give up. Don't give up. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast episode or any of my podcast episodes, please share with a friend or 3. And if you haven't already, please subscribe at joddie.substack.com. That's JODDIE.substack.com. Thanks for listening.